Hello guys and welcome back to Danganronpa, Trigger Happy Havoc. In the last episode, if you don't remember, we started up chapter 2 and we were given access to the second floor of Hope's Peak Academy. So in this episode, we're going to continue exploring it. There's some more bathrooms here. Of course, we can go into the second floor bathroom, which looks insane, kinda. The yellow and green tiles on the wall mixed with the blue tiles on the floor, and the design on the... This feels like something out of a fun house or something like that. Also, I think I only just noticed that the reflections in the mirror actually reflect stuff. I think that's pretty cool. Of course, we can't go into the women's restroom. I really love the design on the walls for this place. It's really weird for a classroom, but then again, everything else in this entire school is really weird, so I don't know, I just like it. It's a very nice shade of green. This must be what he meant by a new world. I should probably take a really close look around. I'm gonna skip over the library for now and see if I can see something interesting in this classroom over here. Nothing in here other than a realistic Monokuma, but yeah, nobody's in here, no new dialogue or anything like that. Although, an interesting thing I'd like to point out is that every chapter, the dialogue for I believe the cameras and the monitors get changed. So let's just check those out really quick. Maybe we're not allowed to break them, but what about blocking them so they can't see anything? Nope, still not brave enough to try it. Hey, monocoins. I wonder if there's an in-universe explanation for monocoins, because what are they? They're just coins that Monokuma left around the school for some reason? Because he clearly made a ton of them, and even get some after the class trial. Did he go around hiding them himself? Or did he just does he keep just dropping them everywhere or something like that? I have no idea. They actually do make an in-universe explanation for collectibles in Danganronpa 2, and then I don't think they do the same thing for Danganronpa V3. But I don't know, it's just really weird to think about. I guess you're just not supposed to think about it. I think it's less of an actual in-universe thing and more of a thing just for gameplay's sake. But then again, there is an alternate universe story called Danganronpa If that you unlock after beating Danganronpa 2, and in that, monocoins and the school store thing are actually an important thing, so I guess they are canon. They are just a thing. So did Monokuma also set up the school store? And did he put all of those presents in there? And if so, for what reason? You know what I mean? Maybe it's some sort of thing where it's he wants people to get closer so that when people inevitably die, their despair, is that much more intense or something? I don't know. This is one of the monitors Monokuma appears on. I'd love to just smash the stupid thing, but who knows what would happen to me if I did. Makoto needs to go to a rage room or something like that and just destroy everything in there, because he just wants to destroy everything apparently. Alright, last room up here is the library. I'll work from right to left. You must be pretty happy to have all these books around, huh, Toko? Not particularly. Nothing's really caught my attention so far. Indeed, there's a plethora of books, it's true, but the content seems lacking. Where's the comic books? Where's the young adult section? Comic books? Young adult? That stuff's a waste of time. I've seen what you write, Miss Fukawa. Talented as you are, your stuff isn't any more worthwhile. My stories are filled with true love and pure feelings. Don't compare them with that garbage of yours. Your writing doesn't even mean anything. It's just a bunch of jumbled up letters. Someone should just burn it all. You, the lady does possess too much, methinks. I bet you're still clinging to boy-on-boy action. Boy-on-boy? I don't care if it's anime or comics or fanfic or whatever. It's all filth. Throwaway culture that'll be trashed and forgotten in half a decade. Ugh, just talking about it makes me sick to my stomach. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. You've insulted me and you've insulted my honor. These two are really starting to freak me out. I've never seen anything like it. But still, this library is most interesting. Huh? What's interesting about it? Oh, nothing. I was just thinking out loud. I'm absolutely shocked! How come? Read all these books here, not one copy of any of my works. Well, yeah, why would they have comics in a library? Plus, most fanfic is just porn drawn by a bunch of amateurs. So this is another bit of a translation thing. When she says drawn here, she's specifically talking about like doujins and fanzines and stuff like that, because that's what he specializes. He's the super high school level doujin author in the Japanese version. You just don't get it, not at all. I do too get it, and with a face like yours, anyone can tell nothing you do is worthwhile. Say whatever you want about me, but never judge a book by its author. Now here's this. Appearances mean nothing at all. What you see before you is nothing more than a rind that contains the meager pulp of my genius. My creations are what determine my meaning and value. You're so full of it. I'm used to being misunderstood. You think weak attacks like yours will drop my HP? Those two really worry me. I really love Makoto's inner thoughts. I really enjoy him as a protagonist because it's the whole trope of like a normal person as the protagonist surrounded by the rest of the cast, which is just insane, like, cartoon people. And I just love whenever the characters are being weirdos and then it just cuts to Makoto who's just like, these fucking people, man. Kyoko, what you doing? It's remarkably dusty in here, and the lighting is less than ideal. For a library, it's not the kind of place I'd want to do much reading in. Alright, there are 2 more points of interest. I think maybe 3. I wonder if this door has any important dialogue. What's behind this door? In some kind of archive. All I saw in there was a stack of old books and files. I can't imagine what business you would have in there. That's true. I don't really have any reason to check it out. We also have this envelope here and a laptop sitting over on the desk. The shelf is covered in dust, but on the shelf is a letter. What's this? Hope's Peak Academy? It was buried under a thick layer of dust. It must have been sitting there for quite a while. Well, shall we see what's inside? But we shouldn't read other people's mail without their permission. What we shouldn't do is leave this here without finding out what's inside. Okay. I broke the seal on the dusty envelope and pulled out the single sheet of paper I found inside. I unfolded the paper and read what was written there. From the Hope's Peak Academy Executive Office. Throughout the years, we have been committed to shaping the youth who will one day shape the world. We have a long, proud history as an institution of higher learning with full governmental support. Our graduates enter society ready to take on active leadership roles in every major job field. However, Hope's Peak Academy must now lower the curtain on its glorious history for the time being. This decision was not an easy one to make, but serious issues beyond our control have made it necessary. But make no mistake, this is not the end for Hope's Peak Academy. We intend to reopen our doors as soon as the issues forcing our closure have been resolved. That being said, this is the end for now, and I would like to personally and sincerely thank everyone for your help and support over the years. For now, we are awaiting official governmental authorization to formally cease operations. What does this mean? The contents of the letter are quite interesting indeed. It would seem Hope's Peak had stopped functioning as a school, and judging by the amount of dust and the letter had collected, it doesn't seem to have happened recently. If I had to guess, I'd say this letter could be at least a year old. So you're saying Hope's Peak closed down at least a year ago? Most likely, the mastermind took over the abandoned school in order to put on this little performance. But that would mean it was closed when I got here just a few days ago. But I didn't get that sense at all. Plus, if the school had shut down, don't you think it would have been in all the newspapers and stuff? I mean, you're saying it could have happened over a year ago, right? But before I got here, I looked up stuff online about the school and never saw anything about this. That must have all been a part of the mastermind's plan. They lured us all in here. Someone who could create a place to judge and execute people could potentially be capable of anything. Of course, that's all assuming that this letter is real. If it is real, though, that does solve one mystery surrounding the school. The reason there are no other students here could be because the school had already closed down. That would be a nice simple solution, it's true. But then, what about the other part? This decision was not an easy one to make, but serious issues beyond our control have made it necessary. Make no mistake, it's not the end for Hope's Peak. We'll reopen as soon as... What did they mean by serious issues? That's apparently why the school had to close. Is there any connection between that and what's happening to us now? If the two events are in fact connected, uncovering that connection would be a useful clue, on top of figuring out the mastermind's motive. Although I can't really say more until we find out more detail. So in other words, only the Mastermind knows the truth right now. The Mastermind's motive. We can figure out why they would want to imprison us all here. Will that be enough to get us out of here? Or... And now, with that insane bombshell dropped on us, apparently Hope's Peak has been closed for a year. So that's already an insane bombshell dropped on us. If that letter is indeed true, then by the time we got here, the place had already been shut down for a while. So before the events of this game even happened, there was some sort of huge event that occurred that made the school shut down. And if nobody here had heard about it before, then it would seem that Hope's Peak swept it under the rug, which would mean that something was going on with the higher-ups of Hope's Peak. Another interesting thing to keep in mind is the forum that Makoto read when he was looking up stuff about Hope's Peak, because he is right. It's weird that there were people talking about who was going to be in Hope's Peak this year if the place had already been shut down. So there's a bunch of different things here that are like contradictory or don't quite make sense. So for now, let's just continue on with the story and see what other kinds of information we can get. It looks like a laptop. The laptop looks pretty old, and it's all covered in dust. It's broken. I tried pressing the power button earlier, but nothing happened. It's broken, huh? Too bad. I was hoping I could use it to go online and see what's going on in the outside world. It's broken, there's nothing I can really do about it. Anyway, now I have a pretty good idea of what's on the second floor, but I didn't see anything that might lead to any kind of exit or anything. All I can do now is hope someone else found something worthwhile. Interesting, there's like I'm only now noticing it, there's a calendar in the back of the room there. It looks like it might be for February, because I think that's a 2 that you can see on the top, and it only goes up to 28 days if you count them out. I can't see what year it's supposed to be though, because the textures are very blurry. You know what, when I'm editing this video, I'm gonna go ahead and look and see if there are any years that match that exact calendar that have 28 days, so it's not a leap year. And the first of the month is a Sunday, I think. So I'm gonna see what years match up with that. I wonder if 2010 is one of those years, or anything like that. I don't know if that would help us pinpoint like what year this is supposed to take place, because it could be an old calendar or something like that. Because this place has supposedly been shut down for at least a year at this point, so maybe it's an old calendar or something like that. Who knows? Okay, I'd better head back to the dining hall as soon as possible. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, how did it go? Did anyone discover any interesting new anything? Here's a library, and a pool, a freaking pool, and locker rooms filled with exercise equipment. There was not, however, anything resembling an escape route. Yeah, she's right. Well, hey, there's no reason to get all sulky. Wait till you hear about my amazing discovery. The warehouse and bathhouse on the first floor of the dorms are now open. So Taka did mention that he was going to explore the places we had already been. Next time we get to walk around the dorms, we'll go ahead and I want to see if we can explore the bathhouse and the warehouse. I like that there are like a bunch of different areas where you see them early on in the game, and you're like, okay, that's going to be important later. I need to keep this in mind. And then later on, they finally open up, and you're like, oh, cool. In the warehouse, there's chock full of food, clothes, whatever you want. So there's so much, it's insane. So go ahead and stuff yourself to the gills whenever you feel like. Ha ha ha. Keep in mind, of course, that going out at nighttime is still prohibited. Please do not forget. Okay, so what about a fucking way out of here? Find anything like that? Oh, well, there wasn't anything in the warehouse we could use to get our asses out of here? Nothing? Unfortunately, no, not that I saw. You fucking people. Who gives a shit if we have a goddamn pool now, or a warehouse, or whatever the fuck? We're still trapped in this piece of shit school. We need to find a goddamn way out. Now, there's no point in taking your anger out on us. Adaptation is the key, yes? For now, we must find a way to enjoy our current situation. Whatever you say, you fucking loon. For now, let's just continue our investigation, and let everyone know if you should discover something. So, are we done for today? Well, yeah, I guess so. The air seemed to suddenly grow heavy again. Was this the Mastermind's plan? To give us hope just to turn around and betray that hope? You'll notice that the words hope and despair are used a lot in this game, and they're even in the game's Japanese title, because the title for this game in Japan is Danganronpa, the Academy of Hope and the High School Students of Despair. So yeah, those two words are like used a lot in Danganronpa, and they're like very important parts of these games. We all promised not to leave our rooms during nighttime. There's not much else to do. I guess I'll just go to bed. Danganronpa.